Hey, TBR family, thanks for joining in for another episode of the podcast. We're sitting here in March, and the honker season is over, and we just got back just not too long ago from our annual duck hunt that we take. We did a couple days up in Ocean City, Maryland with Pit Boss, and then we did a couple days down in North Carolina in Hyde County, where that's our usual spot that we go to, and didn't really slay the birds, but we had a good time, right?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you get together with friends and family and meet new people and new guests, and as you guys heard on the last podcast, if you're just tuning into this one, this is your first one, you can check out. We actually had the podcast before we actually hunted with Jeff Coates with Pit Boss, and you can catch that, some of the stories and some of the things that he talked about before we went on a hunt. We were supposed to go on a hunt with Jeff that morning, and then it was 9-foot swells. We didn't go out, but the second day we went out, and so it was an experience. The duck boat is an incredible,
Massive.
It's a massive duck boat. We saw it, and we talked about it a little bit last podcast. It is as big as he says it is, and
it's bigger in person than you can even tell on even the videos we took.
Absolutely. And it's so comfortable. I mean, it is definitely, I think he said it's as advertised is what he tries to do. And it's definitely comfort living. It is a incredible way to take people duck hunting, sea duck hunting. It was a great experience. We've been a couple of different times sea duck hunting, and it was the most comfortable setting we could have. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, so I'm a bigger guy than we had. Two other guys, Logan and Rob, who are bigger guys just like me, and then you and Aaron. So we had 5 there, and then Jeff was in the back, and Jeff and I were probably 4 feet away from each other.
Absolutely.
And then Logan and I sat beside each other, and we're, like I said, we're, kind of same stature, and, no problems at all swinging, no problems at all, just balance or nothing. I mean, it's a massive, huge boat,
incredibly stable. It was a great experience to see, and so he started putting out. He calls them foamzillas, and that was a cool process to watch. He set out. I basically it was 2 lines of or 4 lines of different birds, and
surfs. I think was it surfs and commons. Did he put anything else out of? I think it was just surfs and commons.
Yeah, and so he put those out. They're big. I mean, they're a big decoy that he's kind of developed, his foamzilla, and it worked. I mean, the wind wasn't exactly the way he wanted it or we wanted it. It was actually, there was quite a bit of wind, and it was pushing the boat away from the lines. But they came in on a line, and one really good push. We had just and we killed 4. Yeah, and it was a mini train wreck is what he called it, and we were all celebrating that. They came right down the pike. We shot straight and shot well, and we got I guess it was 3 common drakes and 1 female. Yeah, I believe, and we played whack-a-mole a little bit with it, and then and we got those couple of those in. So
I mean, we didn't expect for it to be a stellar day. I mean, he had already advised us on that, and that's the part I guess I appreciate that. I appreciate honesty, and we went out there and had good time. But one of the strategies that was weird, it was different, and I didn't really see it a whole lot. I haven't seen it a whole lot, but he had a huge flag.
Oh, yeah.
Just a black flag.
Yeah.
That was probably a square that, I don't know, maybe 3 foot by 3 foot. Maybe my mind's tricking me right now. But it was a large flag on maybe a 6-foot pole. Yeah. And then as he would see him, he would actually wave the flag, I guess just like you would for like Canada's.
Yeah, some motion.
Some motion and get their attention. And it worked a couple different times.
Oh, yeah. He says it in the video, and I don't think you if you follow Pit Boss, I mean, if not, you should, because it's fun to watch. Yeah. But he says he typically, his statement is they seen the flag nicely, and so like I heard that numerous times. I didn't know what it is. He's literally got that giant flag waving it, and when he sees it, when they see it and make the turn, he puts it down and kind of sits and starts recording. Yeah. And coaches you well. I think people have a lot of question. Is shots called early or late? He did a great job. I mean, totally professional. He didn't call that. He wanted everybody to get a shot. We shot when he said to shoot. We had no issue.
Safe environment.
Absolutely.
His he was very hospitable. His hospitality is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was second to none. I said that in one of the posts I think yesterday or today.
Yeah.
And like it's second to none, man.
Yeah.
And he made us made a soup.
Oh, yeah.
And so that soup video, it's literally just him, pulling it out of that can cooker, handing it to me, and then we pass it down the line. That soup video on Facebook is hovering around 700,000 views right now. It's incredible. We've gotten a lot of use out of that, and it's just something different. But I mean that. Him doing that has given me even ideas for us next year.
Oh yeah, he's got one of those can cookers, and he told me, he makes it the night before. It's like he told me to give me the recipe, but it's basically like a cream of broth soup. And then he puts in it was clam. It was a clam chowder is what it was, and then he uses crab to go seasoning, which he always talks about also. Yeah. So I mean, it was a great experience, and I'm telling you, it was blistering cold. The wind was cold. It was a cold morning that morning, and when that soup came off, it hit the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And he, just a character, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and you hear him and you see him on his videos, but he did not disappoint. Can't say enough good about Jeff Coates and Pit Boss Waterfowl.
Oh yeah, we had a blast and continually conversed with him. Just really made a friend, and that's we talk about that all the time. Is that it's about relationships, and if you're questioning should I go sea duck hunting, you could not miss a better opportunity than to go ahead and book him. I want to go back out with him. I think we've got plans to do that in the future.
Yeah.
It was a great experience, and so our team also. I mean, there was a couple. We shot a surf also. So I mean, that's his trademark bird, and so we saw it in the boat. I didn't make the shot, didn't take the shot on it, and you didn't either. But one of the guys did, and it is a prize bird. Had the nice ring around its neck, and a full mature drake that you wanted to see.
Beautiful.
In that time, and those the head of that surf is just, it's so pretty, and to see it and hold it in your hand, it is a special bird, and you understand why he chases them all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, after we left there, we had more hunting to do, so we did that for Tuesday, two days. So we did that Monday, Tuesday, and then we headed down to Hyde County, North Carolina. So we just went down, Eastern Virginia, and that next day we hunted with a group that's out there. And the first day we didn't see a whole lot. I think we only had we had one commit, and that was the one we killed. So killed a gadwall.
It was
that morning, and
I think it was Dark Woods waterfowl as well.
Dark Woods waterfowl, Waylon Gibbs.
Yeah, and another he had Rhett, who was their guide. Couldn't talk any better about him. He was great. We cut up in the blind and made a friend. Made some jokes with him, and he was great. We had a phenomenal day with him. Even though we saw a lot of birds flying, they just wouldn't commit to the hole that we were in, and so we had one Gaddy Daddy show up, and he left with us. So not a stellar day of killing, but a good day of looking out. And then from there, we went to the refuge. And I don't know if you've ever went. I know a lot of their listeners are from West Virginia and some in Virginia and just around. I know there's a lot of people who are gaining watching, but anyway, and listening. But if you've never been to a waterfowl refuge, it is a truly incredible experience. It was Logan's first time of seeing it, but when you literally are driving on, and we saw everything from the tundra swan that migrate there. I think 92% of them find their way in Hyde County and down there, to blue wing full drake teal, to ringnecks, to redheads. I mean, that it was just thousands of birds, pintails galore down there. I can't even put it into words if you haven't experienced that. You need to go watch it. I mean, there's a ton of bird watchers there, but we got some pictures and some videos there. But just it makes you fall in love with the sport again, and really how beautiful those drakes are. Absolutely. Everything from the northern shoveler to all of it.
We saw every one but a canvasback.
Yeah.
Did not see a canvasback, which that's probably to be expected, but we didn't expect to see redheads in there.
Yeah.
And we saw a group of those and got a cool pictures and videos of those. And but Canada's, think we even saw some snows in there with some tundras, and but like you said, it's such an incredible experience to see the massive amount of birds.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, it just makes you mad because you can't kill them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've said that before, and that's for any hunting, whether you're deer hunting or turkey hunting or whatever it is. If you can't get them in the range of your weapon, you can see them all day, but it doesn't mean that you're going to have an opportunity to shoot them. So, well, anyway, so that evening we ate at, I guess, one of the 3 restaurants, kind of just shot the bull and hung out, which is always good and great camaraderie. And we had a good time, and then we woke up early the next morning and we went to another place. It was a different place on the same farm of the Dark Woods waterfowl. And it was a cool experience because they have hardwoods there, and they have got a place down there that you take a boat in, and it felt like more like at home hunting off of a riverbank, but it was it's basically
like flooded timber.
Yeah, it's a flooded timber cutout area that we took a boat in, and it was an experience. And I'm telling you, as we sat there before shooting light came, I mean, the wood ducks, you just hear them everywhere. I mean, they are whistling, fluttering, all kinds of, I mean, just different sounds that you heard. You heard teal back there, and you hear the tundra swan getting up off the refuge. And I mean, it's really pretty electrifying to just sit in there and just listen.
Yeah.
And so we began that hunt. And so it was crazy because we heard all this stuff, but like we wasn't really taking pass-by shots. We wanted to make sure the birds decoyed well, and we wanted to take a good ethical shot. We didn't take any really pass-bys. We were waiting for them to come in, and so daybreak hit, and we heard them flying, saw them flying, and all of a sudden it was on my side. It came in the left side. I usually sit on the left side of the blind. At this place I did. And so as it came in like a jet, I knew it was I knew that it was a female hooded merganser. And that thing didn't have a chance of leaving. I mean, it didn't. And I think all 4 of us shot at it. And, and we were ready because we only killed one yesterday. And then so we took down the female, and then the male hooded and more hoodeds were coming in. They literally turned upside down, and we got the drake down at that point. And so just continued on. It was a great experience, and there was more. We actually started getting some puddle ducks. And
yeah. So I mean, we saw gadwall and pintail probably from 9 o'clock on, 9 or 10, 9 and 9:30 time frame, and so it kind of got a little bit slower. Which was to be expected, but Rhett kept us in there and waited for a little bit longer. And the before I tell the next part, what I'll say is that Pastor the dog doesn't really hunt out of a blind like that. Like around here, we have the Momarsh blind for him to set in, and he's semi-elevated. So I was a little nervous about it, which I've learned to not be very nervous with him because he just takes so many different situations just so gracefully. It's like it doesn't bother him a whole lot.
He's a chill dog.
Yeah. So he doesn't get really, too anxious or nervous about new situations, but so he did really good. It was probably about 3 feet off the water. And so it was more of like a dog jump for him, but they had a dog hole for him. And so he did really good with that. So we sat around for a little while, shooting bull really. And we were getting ready. It was probably within 10 minutes of like the feel of like, okay, boys, this is over.
Yeah.
And what we have, you said 2 or 3 in the blind already.
Probably so.
And so we were getting ready to pack it up, and then all of a sudden we were just kind of lackadaisical, and somebody says, "Oh, here's some right over our heads." So they fly over our heads, from our back over our heads, and they take like a 45-degree angle right at the decoys, and the decoys were more like off to our right, to maybe like a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And so they swooped right down, and everybody pulled up their guns, and everybody shot fantastic. It was a fantastic shot. So, I mean, they had no chance of leaving. And that particular way of that, and if you duck hunt, you know that if they come from your back and over you, it's more difficult because you don't really get a headshot.
Yeah.
So we absolutely blistered a group there, and so
I think we took 5.
It was 5.
It was 5. So I mean, like we went from 2 in the blind. I think it was 2 in the blind at the point to 7. I mean, it was like, and it was all gadwalls, and they committed hard. I mean, they came in just like you said on a line right to those decoys and fully committed. And we shot well.
Oh yeah, and that's Gadwaller is something that we talk. You and I talked about a lot this year. We saw a lot of them up in the mountains this year, and didn't get a chance on one, but we did down in Hyde County.
Absolutely.
And so that was good, and so then we came out of there and took some cool pictures and videos and stuff, but. Right after that, Waylon Gibbs, who owns Darkwoods Waterfowl, he had us go over to an impoundment that he had hunted that morning, and he had killed a snow goose.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have his waders on, and so he wanted some help retrieving that. And it's a pretty cool opportunity experience for us to see Pastor with a different bird to retrieve. And so we rode over there and sent Pastor out on that, and it was cool to see that white. And I guess. And I know that, there might be people from all over the country listening to this, but we don't get snow geese.
Yeah.
And so for me to see one there in person, how compact, I call it compact it was.
Yeah.
And, Waylon echoed that that's pretty much a normal size snow goose. And just to see how compact it was, but how wide it was is just beautiful, amazing.
Yeah.
And so Pastor picked it up, and we got some cool pictures and videos with him, so that was something special for me and Pastor. And so we left there, and we had 2 days there, and then unfortunately you had to go home. And Logan and I had stayed back and had a couple opportunities with Thomas Morris, and Thomas is on season 1 of the podcast, and so we went out there in some layout boats, and so we had 2 days. We had 1 day with him. And so we went out pretty early. When we got out there, the waters weren't necessarily what we really wanted, or what he really wanted, I guess. And so we moved spots a couple different times as the waters kind of calmed down mid morning. And so we were in these layout boats, and if you haven't experienced a layout boat, it's just a flat, what I would call a flat kayak. And so you lay down in it, and you're laying flat, like kind of parallel with the water. If you were to see through that layout boat, you're probably half of your body would be underwater, as if you're literally floating. And so the difficult part about that, again, being a bigger person and Logan's a bigger guy, we kind of had to lay your body flat as you could. So it was a little bit different, a little bit more awkward, but got out there, and he moved us to a different spot. And when he did, he set up the decoys a different way, and man, he got it right.
Yeah.
He got it right because around lunchtime, he had him coming straight at us. And the crazy thing to me about it is, like, when we hunt, obviously it's river hunting and stuff, we just don't generally get birds coming straight at you.
Right.
You're going to have, right to left, left to right. And like I said, even behind you, but these birds were coming straight at me, and they had zero clue that we were there.
Yeah.
And so, like, when it would come at me, I'd have a straight on shot, and then Logan would have kind of a side shot, and then vice versa. But we blistered them. I mean, they were right on us. It's a 20, 25 yard shot. And so we took down, I think we came out with we come out with 7, 8. There, and got 3 more surfs.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were common scoters. And so it was cool experience for me and Logan. Logan, new to waterfowl. But we both experienced that at the same time. It was pretty cool and a lot of fun. And actually, while we were down there last year, if you guys remember, I went down there by myself last year, and I made some friends at the cabin that I stayed in.
Yeah.
And we actually linked up on Facebook last year, and then this year we linked up again, and so we had steak with them. They have a camper down there, and they do their own thing, and we had a really good time with those guys. We hung out with them the night before the hunt, and Thomas came over and hung out with us as well, and just going back to it, it's like it's that camaraderie. It's just the trip's more than just killing ducks.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I'm reminded. I think it was the night before I left. We went to. There was only 3 places to eat, or 2 places. I mean, it's not much down there. In restaurant choices, you just got a couple places that you can choose from, and we were at that one restaurant. And three guys come in. One guy was he was in his 70s, every bit of it. And then probably a couple guys maybe in their 50s or 60s with him. And, he basically, we start talking to him. He can't hear worth a lick, and he's yelling at us.
It was loud in there.
Yeah. And he's trying to tell us stories. And he tells us, he basically is like, I've been coming down here for 30 years and that, and you sense that it's like, hey, I think you looked at me and you said, that's going to be us one day, going on duck hunts when we're 70 and can't hear. And young pups are going to be talking to us about things. And he told us a story about, what his best day was. And
it kind of started because we were a little bit down because we hadn't, you've come for what, 6 years now?
Yeah.
I guess I'm like on 4 or something. And, we haven't had a really stellar hunt on those annual hunts.
Never. When we go away from home, maybe it's a false expectation of us, but it's like it just seems like we would kill at least one day of limits, or not every day, but just have one stellar hunt in the midst of it for all the guys. And so So anyway, we were talking to him and he said, "Boys, that's nothing." Basically, he's like, "I've had one day in 30 years or something like that," didn't he?
Yeah, and he told us the story. Told us the story, and he basically, the story in summary was that the birds were so thick that he picked out every drake of every species, whatever that limit was for at that time. It was a long time ago, and he picked out every single drake and shot. He picked out which one he wanted and he shot it.
Yeah. He said it was funny because his buddy who was in the blind with him, and I think there was other guys there, is like he shot like 3 green-winged teal in a row. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we all got green-wing." And that guy was like, "No." He's like, "No. That's your 3 birds. I didn't shoot at those." And then he was like, I think he ended up picking out it was like a pintail drake. It was a blue-winged teal drake. It was a green-winged drake. It was a mallard drake. It's like, it was a stellar, prize, a bag of birds.
Yeah.
And it was cool to hear. But I guess it gave us hope. We've been down there for 5-6 years for myself, and still haven't had that stellar day. But he had 1 in 30.
He's like, consistency's key.
Yeah.
And then he as older wisdom brought on to that conversation, it's not about killing ducks.
It's not.
And I talked to my buddies over there at the camper, and it's like, if you're here to kill limits and here to kill a whole lot of birds, you're kind of here for the wrong thing. And we understand that.
Absolutely.
And we try not to put pressure on our guides because at the end of the day, you cannot make a wild bird do what you want it to do every time.
No.
Of course, the trickery in that of decoying birds and calling and stuff is an art, and those guys know what they're doing for sure.
Yeah.
But Mother Nature has its way of just they either come or they don't. They want to be where you're at or they don't, and that's part of the game. It's part of hunting.
And I'll tell you this, I thought, for us, it was a good experience of calling birds. I think we called really well, actually, and paired with Rhett on that when we were calling in birds. I think we did a good job feed chuckling and just using the whistle and all those things. I felt pretty confident in that, and again, it does come down to relationships. So we talked to those 3 guys, and it was a good experience. And there was a Ducks Unlimited dinner down there that weekend, so there's a lot of people in that county talking about birds and talking about hunting and just making friendships and relationships. And so, when you look back on it, and I think this is the key for all of it, and we've talked a lot about ducks, but again, every time we come back, it's about relationships.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity, and I think it's kind of. Sometimes I think as you go through life, you begin to think, you know, you don't think about it when you're younger or as you're doing things, but it's like sometimes when you start thinking back over life, it's like, well, if we knew it was the last time we were going to spend the night with our best friend, would we did something different? Or
Yeah.
if this was the last hunt we would ever have with this group of people, would you do it different? And literally one day it will be the last hunt.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, as I've had friendships over the years, it's like you begin, as you look back at life, it's like we didn't even realize it was the last time all of us would be together. It's the last time we get to hang. So it's like make every moment of those relationships, make them count. Make friends, talk to new people, get out of your comfort zone. Maybe you're shy or whatever. You know, take that extra step and talk to somebody. Or maybe you're outgoing, talk to another person. You know, just reach out and tell your story, whatever that might be, and bring somebody else to do life with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's it sums up very well that whole thing, and that's that's what we chase. That's what we chase every year, and the reason why we go out and we call it our annual duck trip. And the Banded Retrieve has not been was not created, but till 2020. So we haven't always done it, but it's always been the same group of guys going out and doing that. So it's a lot of fun, and it gives you that kind of push too. I mean, in a place like ours that doesn't produce a lot of birds, it kind of gives you something to look forward to, and really just one day away from the office is the best thing you could do, and so that's a lot of fun. But kind of wrapping up this episode, I got a couple questions, but one, and then I'll touch on something else.
Yeah.
But the question I have for you as we come to the close of waterfowl season, as goose season's over in Virginia because ours goes through the end of February. But we've captured a lot of content, a lot of photos, and a lot of videos and reels. But when you look back on some of the content that we've created, what's your favorite?
Yeah, there's two that stand out in my mind, and they're for different reasons. One doesn't have the most likes on Instagram. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the most comments, but there's not even a bird in it. But it's the picture of me and you and Logan and Aaron and Jeff Coates and Rob Bailey all in front of that, because if it sums it all up, it's the brotherhood that we created. We had new people we hadn't hunted with, and so I think that's one of my favorite pictures. Even though there's not any birds, we didn't even lay out the birds we killed. We just stood in front of that giant duck boat and took a picture, and I think that's some. Now the other piece that I like is actually it's a video that you created, and I'm holding that duck strap. I think I think we had 9 birds with Waylon and them, and I'm holding it up, and you kind of spin around, and then Logan comes in, and he's got his phone to the right, and it kind of goes slow motion to it. It's kind of boomerangs or whatever, and then it goes to Pastor. It kind of concludes with him, and I think that's cool because it was. I really like that piece. It's cool holding up a big duck strap's always fun, but it's got us trying to capture the moment, and it's got a great picture of Pastor, so it's one of my favorites.
I guess it's twofold for me.
Yeah.
Is the one that's cool to me, and I'm going to continue to post things like this, but I think I talked about it on one of the previous episodes, but if I didn't, my wife challenged me to teach Pastor something new. Said that he, old dog doesn't learn new tricks, but he's only 2. But this past summer, just in spite of that comment, I taught him how to fist bump. So it's just like a handshake, but just fist bump, hold my fist out in front of him, and he kind of hits it. So that we did that, and I was holding up that same strap you're talking about, and I said, "The Banded Retrieve, baby," and I turn around and I say pound it, and he just fist bumps. So that's pretty cool. I mean, our bond, mine and his bond is great, and love it. But actually right after that video, we took a picture of me, you and him, and he's in the middle, and I think you're holding up the strap, and it's just it's not only brotherhood, but I mean, doing this with you is been some of the best joy that I've had. And, so I really enjoyed that piece. So, I mean, we're growing and we're trying to do more, and I'm trying to kind of broaden out where we're our reach. And so part of that, and which I really wanted to touch on here, because I know we're running out of time, but we started a YouTube channel, of course, at the Banded Retrieve.
Yeah.
And we're going to be having our podcast episodes streamed on there, and doing some other reels and some other things. And I keep on telling people on Instagram it's exclusive content, because there's some things on YouTube that just won't make it over to some of the other platforms, just the length and some of the topics and things like that. So, if you're listening to this, and I know that we have a good, consistent following. I mean, we post these and have a really good following, and people listen to these religiously.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate that. But what I'd ask you to do is go over to our YouTube channel at the Banded Retrieve. And subscribe. Absolutely. It doesn't cost you a thing to subscribe.
Yeah.
I know subscription means different things sometimes, and in monetary, it's free.
Yeah.
It's free to subscribe and notify yourself when we're going to be posting content. So
it definitely, and I think most people don't really realize it helps small business. Every time you like a post on Instagram or give it the heart, every time you share it to somebody, every time you comment on Facebook or like it on Facebook, every time you go to YouTube, you like, subscribe, any of those things helps get our brand out, which ultimately helps us continue to do what we do and what we love to do. I mean, the reality is this business started out as a friendship and just doing some things. You brought me along in that, and it's continued to be that. But we know that the brand is a great brand. We know that we've got things that are bigger than duck hunting and those things, and really stories and situations that we can help people with everyday life. And so we're just trying to get the word out, and you can do your part. You as a listener, or you watching on YouTube, you can you're part of us. You're part of the Banded Retrieve.
Absolutely.
And every like, share, follow is part of it.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up here, we have new hats. We have 4 new hats, and if you're watching on YouTube, you see the ones that Ryan and I are wearing.
Yep.
Which you got good taste. You wear the same one.
I know. I saw that. So, I grabbed it out of the truck. So.
But what we want to do for you as listeners and as viewers on YouTube, thank you. As a thank you. You can go to our website and place an order for one of the hats, and we'll give you $5 off that code. And so the cool thing about it for you guys is you'll only hear this code here and on the podcast. Nobody else will see this on any other platform. But the code will be TBR, the Banded Retrieve. So TBR YouTube.
Yep.
All caps. Go place an order. That'll give you $5 off of your entire order. And we just want to say thank you guys. And as always, we're free shipping. We do not charge shipping, and we will not charge shipping. We made that commitment early on. And again, we appreciate you guys. And thank you guys so much for joining YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of our platforms. We appreciate you guys. And like Ron said, you guys are part of our family. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram at The Banded Retrieve.
Or you can reach out to us directly by emailing us at info@thebandedretrieve.com. And as always, happy hunting.